we're back at the Lowe's Motor Speedway on All-Star Weekend in the Lazy Boy Lounge, and we've got a little Michigan theme going on here because we have confirmed that Lazy Boy's headquarters are in Michigan.
Monroe, Michigan.
Monroe, Michigan. Yeah. And Michigan Jim, he comes to a lot of our races and hangs out. Are you a big Blue fan?
I am a huge Wolverines fan. I see him all the time. I watch you guys' show, and I see him in the background all the time, and I finally had to stand up, walk over there and shake his hands, a big Michigan Wolverines supporter that he is, and so am I. So hopefully we'll have a better season this year. We're all pulling for him.
There's Michigan Jim right there. Big fan. Glad he's here. You talked about your family and the fact that racing was all you ever knew. I mean, was this the choice? In other words, I guess I'm thinking, well, what happened if it didn't work out? Would you still have worked in racing?
Yeah, my dad never really forced racing on me. I'll never forget the opportunity that I got to drive the first time was in a quarter midget. And it started out with, my dad was driving me to school one morning and said, hey, just kind of nonchalant, there's a quarter midget buddy I've got who's got one sitting in the corner. If you want to drive it, you can. And I really thought he was joking. I'm like, come on, that's just cruel. Of course I want to drive it. Of course, And so I got the opportunity to drive it and started winning right away and kind of grew from there. But there's no guarantees that I was going to make it as a driver. And I spent a lot of time working on my family's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series team, as it was back then, and learned a lot, learned about the cars and trucks, and eventually got a chance to drive them.
There's a win by your dad there, that 29 at Richmond. And, Darrell talks about confidence a lot with drivers. It's almost just a feeling they get. And I'm like Larry, I kind of agree the Talladega win was great, but how you ran at Darlington, because I was listening to you on the radio and you said, hey, guys, I'm just going to race the track for a while. I'm going to be careful. And by the way, at halfway, I want a sandwich.
Yeah, I love to eat during the races. The cup races are so long.
How do you eat with a full face helmet?
It's hard. They cut my sandwich in half, which they make fun of me for. So they cut my peanut butter and jelly sandwich in half, and then they hand it in, and I eat one half during the yellow, and then save the other half for another yellow, and it's great. It's perfect. But, getting back to confidence, I came here and tested last year the 25 Sprint Cup car, which I was going to run that race last year, but got rained out, didn't get a chance. And, I didn't have any confidence at all. And, I could tell as soon as I pulled in the gate today in my first lap on the racetrack how much more comfortable I was in the race car and how much better feedback I was able to give because of, the success I've had over the last few weeks.
It's amazing, Brad. This sport can be so humbling. The beginning of the season and the Nationwide Series, heck, it seems like you guys were in a wreck every week.
Yeah.
And you would drop so far in the points, and now you're sitting here in the Lazy Boy Lounge. We're talking about the All-Star race and winning at Talladega.
It's a roller coaster, isn't it? I think all you can really do is you try to maximize the highs and minimize the lows, and the start of the year was very low, very, very low. It seemed like I couldn't do anything right. And ended up getting wrecked at California. I wrecked myself at Daytona in the Nationwide car, and I just wasn't catching brakes, and I was making poor decisions, and it was a combination of them two. And now it's the opposite. I'm catching some really good brakes, and I'm not making any mistakes. So I'm sure that'll circle back around, as it always does, but for right now, it's working.
All right, we'll have more with Brad Keselowski when Trackside Live continues. We should go to the plant in Monroe, Michigan. This is nice stuff.
I'm proud of them.
All right. More with Brad Keselowski when Trackside Live continues.
Fred, I don't believe you'd have won Talladega if it hadn't been for Regan Smith. Because I don't believe, I understand you had quite the conversation with John Darby before the race at Talladega. Would you expound on that a little bit?
Well, the rule there, it's up for some kind of interpretation. And so I just wanted to make sure I understood NASCAR's interpretation, because that's really the only one that matters. And the basics of it are, I had thought that if you made contact and were forced down, that it was okay. But they kind of clarified that as, no, that's not okay. So the basics of that and how that changes your strategy is that you have to get on that yellow line and you have to hold the wheel straight and make sure you absolutely do not, even under contact, go under it. So, had that not been the rule, there's the possibility that I would have made contact and been able to get away from them, but it didn't work out that way.
I had somebody one time, we discussed this. I'd look at that solid, double yellow line, and you almost treat it like it's an inside wall.
Exactly.
You go down to it, but it's like an invisible wall. You'd hit it, and that's the way you treat it, and that's what one of the NASCAR guys said. If you treat it like there's a wall down there, you'll be a whole lot better off.
Did you hear your spotter? Did you hear Steve when he was calling at you?
Yeah, Steve was pretty excited. Yeah,
But I mean, you know, here you are. You're making contact. You're going 200 miles an hour, and he says, "Don't go below that yellow line." and you didn't.
No, I was not going to go below it. You know, definitely when you're pushing another car, it's really hard because I couldn't even see the line to begin with when I made my move. So you're kind of making a guess. Oh, I think it's right here, and I'm going to hold my spot right there.
Well, Brad, go ahead and win $1 million Saturday night. Why not, right?
I'm ready. I'm excited about it. Got a great Kesolowski Chevrolet, and I'm glad to be back working with that group and ready to go on for next season.
All right.
All right. Good job.
Thanks for spending time with us.